On today's show, we're checking out the Conspit Aris Apex bundle. Getting started in sim racing and don't want to break the bank? This could be a great option for you. Welcome to Inside Sim Racing. I'm Darren Ganji and I'm here with...
Jake Snedden?
You sure?
Last time I checked.
Okay. And like I mentioned at the top of the show, we're here checking out the Aris Apex Complete Bundle. And this bundle retails for $9.99. And you get the Aris Apex base, which is 8 newton meters of torque, has a 21-bit encoder, and I'm not going to go into all the specs. I'll have a link in our description to the Aris Apex base that you can check out on Conspit's website. And it's got the 310 Apex round wheel. It's got a leather wheel on it, as a matter of fact. This all comes with the CDR quick release, which is fairly new to the Conspit lineup. They were doing stuff with the CDP, but they also started offering the CDR quick release, which is a ball lock, very similar or identical to a SimMagic or a Moza setup. And then it also comes with a 2-pedal set. If you're wondering what Jake's doing and why he's not part of this right now, Jake's running Race Room, just kind of getting dialed in. And we're going to do this a little different. We're kind of just mixing up all these reviews. This is going to be kind of an interview style. And I'm going to be interviewing Jake, because Jake tested this primarily. I did a lot of testing in it too, but Jake did something specific with this testing, and we'll get to that in a minute. So the setup that we have here as tested, we have a clutch edition, which is $50, and we also have the vibration kit, which is another $85 additional, and you attach those to all 3 pedals. And again, it's a separate add-on for this, but we have it available at simmotion.com. All this is available at simmotion.com. And again, not the as tested price, but the bundle goes for $9.99. And then the clutch is $50. The haptics are $89. All in, this package retails for $11.88. And at simmotion.com, if you use the promo code ISRTV, you get another 5% off of this. So now, for this review, we kind of put it to the ultimate test. And Jake ran some races in iRacing. Now, it's not to say that we don't race when we're testing other gear, but like when we just did our PXN review, we didn't run any complete races, did we?
I don't think so, no.
No, we didn't. We just tested a bunch of different tracks, car combos, different sims. I thought for this it'd be kind of cool to like put it to the ultimate test. And Jake ran actually 2 races. And what was the series that you ran it in?
It was the Fanatic Global Challenge series at the Nordschleife.
And he ran it in the Cadillac CTS-V. Now, that also had another class in that race, didn't it?
Yeah, the Kia Optima, but nobody really runs that car, to be quite honest with you.
Okay, so it was just primarily CTS-V. And what I thought about, you know, I watched a review recently by Dan Suzuki. And he was mentioning how it's really hard to convey like what you're feeling when you're driving. I mean, sure, you can tell people what you're feeling, but it's really hard to put into words like exactly what you're feeling, like what the force feedback. And sure, you could go like, oh, I feel that rumble strip and I feel this and that. I think one of the best tests for any sim racing hardware is immersion. Like, how immersed are you, or is something about a package breaking the immersion? So that's why I said to Jake, I said, hey, why don't you go run a race, pick an iRacing series where you can run a complete race, and then tell me what you think about the package as a bundle, and if there's anything that you liked or disliked, or mainly disliked about it that potentially broke immersion. And so let's start with your race results.
Mediocre at best.
Well, I don't think you finished either race, did you?
Nope.
Okay, so now, first race, I believe you had an issue. Somebody, and we can show you guys footage of this here, but someone made a mistake.
Very end of the first lap on the second bank corner, not the carousel, just before you get on the back straight, somebody had a skill issue moment and didn't hold their brakes coming out of that, and I had nowhere to go. The second race, which we also have a clip of, was just a massive skill issue on my part. So it is not a reflection of the actual pedals themselves.
So yeah, so that was going to be my question. So we're going to do this kind of interview style. So my question to you was, did anything about this package break immersion during that race?
No, honestly, on iRacing, it felt really good. I had a bit of an issue when we first got these pedals, getting immersed with the brake pedal. But like I told you, I think most of that really just came down to just setting up the ergos more correctly. And once we got that, the brake pedals feel awesome.
And that's another key to your sim racing gear, is setting up ergonomically, you know, where your pedals are, what kind of angle are they set at, that kind of stuff. And I agree with Jake, when we had this stuff first installed, I didn't like how the pedals felt, and it was because of where they were installed. And I felt like they didn't have enough angle on them. And I added some angle, and Jake, when Jake first started driving, he's like, whoa, these feel really good. And he's like, I feel like the ergos changed, and sure enough they did, because I had made some adjustments on them. So let's just go through each piece of this package. And, oh, besides testing, Jake's running in Race Room right now. Jake, you'd never run Race Room before this.
Nope.
So now we're running the Celine at, what is this model of Celine?
I think it's P1.
Yeah, it's a P1 class, but we're running it at Russia.
It's the GTR 1 class, but I think it's the Celine P1.
Oh, gotcha. And we were able to run the DTMs. For some reason, we couldn't boot those up. We had the 1990s DTM cars. Jake enjoyed those, and the sound. He even posted something on his personal Instagram.
Oh yeah, the DTM cars are a fan favorite of mine.
So we also tried it with Live for Speed, Assetto Corsa Rally, and everything mapped correctly and worked pretty much flawlessly. So some of the other things we tested, and we got it running right now, we've got some footage of us tinkering a little bit. Lovely Dash has a partnership with Conspit. And if you've used SimHub and you look for dashes, one of the best dashes available for SimHub is the Lovely Dash. I think both of us used it at home. I know I did for a long time.
I use it on I have a little Vocor screen that I use. That's what I use, Lovely, yeah.
So
it's just amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's one of the best dashes, no doubt, on the planet, I'd say, and it's primarily was used through SimHub. And when we first got this set up, I had did a search for it, and they have a partnership. As we dug a little deeper in the UI here, and you'll see the footage of it, you can actually select the Lovely dashboard from the Conspit UI, so you don't actually need to use SimHub for it. But the other great thing about this package, or this wheel, is you can use SimHub. So you can tune haptics, the lights on all the buttons are tunable. Now let's talk about each individual component. And I'm pretty much going to just ask Jake questions about these, and I'll give you my take if I've got anything to say about them. So let's start with the wheel. What do you think about this wheel?
I personally love the 310 wheel. One thing that's big for me on any wheel that'll drive me nuts is like ergonomics. Just being able to naturally get to buttons without hassle, and the encoders on these are really nice. Same thing with all like the analog buttons and stuff like that. I feel like everything is just very especially these 3 buttons on the sides, just all very intuitive and like easy to get to. Same thing with the encoders. I don't feel like I have to like move my hands too much, like following a back straight or something like that. The actual like pleather itself is really nice. I know some people have a hard time getting that right. I have big hands, so and so does he. We often run into issues with the spacing on the paddles. Spacing on the paddles is awesome. Have no issues there. I can easily get to the clutch paddles on the rear with my pinkies. Again, of course, the screen is amazing. Be able to have a lovely dashboard on there for basic information.
I was going to ask you, that was my next question. What do you think about the dash? It's a little on the smaller side compared to, like if you have like an FX Pro or even some of the other Conspit wheels like the Max 01. How do you like that little display?
I think it's awesome. Having a small screen might come as a turn off for some people, but if you really don't want to commit to the hassle of running an external screen and setting that up, and you just want some basic information like tire temps or like fuel usage, or just understanding what gear you're in, like where your TC is at. Like if you're running, most people that are going to be needing that kind of stuff are going to be running like more production stuff. So you're probably already going to own like an open wheel. But for people that do like GT4 stuff or like rally stuff, and you just need that like little bits of basic information, but you don't need a bunch, and you don't need to look at it all the time. I think having this little screen is awesome.
I agree. Hey, why don't you stop for a second, hand me the keyboard, and let's see if we can turn the rev lights on, because I think that's all just a matter of just turning off SimHub.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're still in Dirt Rally, but which doesn't matter. How did it feel, by the way?
Felt fine.
Yeah, so let's turn off SimHub.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I already look at the rev light already popped up. Yep, there it is. So yeah, it looks like they just needed to be configured in SimHub.
Mm-hmm.
We just didn't want to. We could. That's the other thing. You could spend hours tuning and tweaking stuff in SimHub.
Down to the last, RPM.
Yes, and Conspit gives you some decent functionality already. Like you can click on any button and change, like DRS is activated or ABS, or like turn these functions on.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can change to, like, if you have ABS or traction control on a specific button, you can change the color of the button. So and flashing or always on. So you've got a lot of functionality just in the Conspit software, but then you go into SimHub and it just opens things, totally opens things up.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a bunch of dashes you can choose from. Matter of fact, you can map a button or an encoder to change the dashes. And actually, let's go to my profile. Oh, we didn't save it. So you can have a bunch of different dashes that you can add. I don't know what STS Sam is. Oh, there we go. Never heard of STS Sam. He's got some funky
screens in there. Super retro. That one reminds me of Richard Burns' Rally. I think it's pretty sick.
So you can have a bunch of different dashes here in the software, and then you can basically scroll through them.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I think that's... Anything else you want to say about the wheel before we move on to the base?
No, I think I covered everything on the wheel.
All right, so the base, here's the software for it. You've got lots of different adjustability here. Right now it says running the Dirt Rally 2 program, but there's actually...
They're probably not going to have... Oh, they do have race
they have race room. We always make sure that's up to 8 Newton meters. But this is the defaults for race room. And I would say if you're going to get started here and you're not sure what to run as far as settings, always start with it. If in any software, start with the defaults and then tweak from there.
Yep.
So that's what we were running the other day. So let's just save to flash. So now let's talk about the wheelbase. 8 Newton meters of torque.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get you back in race room here. You can continue driving. So... do you think 8 Newton meters of torque is enough? For you personally, or actually twofold question. Do you think 8 Newton meters is enough for you, or is it enough for beginners, or too much for beginners?
I would definitely say 8 Newton meters is not enough for me personally, just out of... I personally use an Alpha Mini at home, and I'd say like that's the threshold for me. Like I really should have a bigger wheelbase just because of how much, just the settings I like to run and the power that I like to run, because I have to run that thing pretty much maxed out most of the time.
And an Alpha Mini, just for your reference, is 10 Newton meters, this is 8.
Yeah. I think for somebody just getting into the sport, I really don't think you need more than 8 Newton meters. If you're gonna, it's all subjective because, like, I can still be competitive on this wheelbase.
That was part of my other question. Yeah, are you competitive with 8 Newton meters?
Really, what it boils down to with the Newton meter thing is the more comfortable you are, and the more you can tune a wheelbase to what you like and prefer, you're going to be faster, and that doesn't always, correlate to because it has more Newton meters. I think anybody with a certain skill set could whoop anybody on like a G29 with somebody on direct drive. But I don't really think it's really necessary to have a bunch of
25 Newton meters of torque. Yeah, I agree with that too. You still get lots of detail with 8 Newton meters. It also really is dependent on the sim that you're driving, the car and track combo. Like, we could boot up, like, I think one of the heaviest force feedback settings, or whatever, however you want to refer to it, in any title is when you run dirt in iRacing. Like, for some reason, like, I have to turn things way down because you could barely turn the wheel. So it all really depends on, like, there's how heavy the wheel is going to be, and then how much detail are you going to feel under load. So where you're getting the most load or data to the wheel is when the tires are under load. So go into an open wheel car, like, pretty much any style high performance open wheel car, not like a Formula V or something like that, but like, let's just take an Indy car, for example. Tons of downforce, tons of grip, and as you're going through the corners, it requires extra load or Newton meters of torque if you want to continue to feel all that detail. So again, I agree with Jake. I think 8 Newton meters is great especially for a beginner. For me personally, I like something a little bit closer. Like, I'd say 12 and above is kind of the sweet spot for me, with kind of 15. 15 is almost too much, but again, it all depends on the title. Like, if you're going to go into an F1 2025 or a title that, like a Forza, their force feedback isn't as detailed and or as heavy, and you may want to crank up every Newton meter of torque in the base to get everything you can out of it. And that's where you may want a 20 plus Newton meter base. Or you're training to become a real race car driver and you want to feel what it's like to drive, a car that's got a lot of torque in the steering rack. And that's where you'd want to have that extra Newton meters of torque. But I agree with Jake. I think 8's plenty. Here's another thing too. This has a 21-bit encoder. I'm going to mention Dan Suzuki again, and he mentioned in a video that I don't think any title's even taking advantage of that high a bit rate on the encoders.
Not yet, at least, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's just kind of a buzzword or buzz phrase. It's got a 21-bit or a 23-bit encoder. I think he mentioned like 15 is the max or something like that, and I know I'm wrong with the number because it's been a little while since I've watched that video, but not required, but it's nice to have because maybe,
I think they're just kind of future-proofing.
I think so too, and again, I think it makes the you basically have more steps in the resolution of the wheel, from what I understand. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong there. Definitely no expert when it comes to those kind of specs.
But to clarify, this is a great setup for a beginner, and it can even, carry you into when you want to get competitive. So
yeah, again, like Jake said, you could be on a G29 and be just as competitive as somebody that's got a 20 plus Newton meter wheel. It really comes down to how comfortable you are with that gear and how immersed you are. Like I talked about at the beginning of the show, if you're immersed with your G29 and you're not thinking about your gear,
then you're fast. You're going to be faster.
Exactly. I think that is the key, is not breaking immersion, so you're not thinking about it. All you're thinking about is hitting your marks and driving. And, just like you wouldn't be in a real car. Unless something's broken, something starts malfunctioning, and it's going to break your immersion. Anything else on the base before we move on to pedals?
I don't think so.
So onto the pedals. Comes with a 2-pedal set. We've got the clutch, which pretty much you don't use much in sims.
Unless you're me.
Yeah, unless you're Jake and you like rowing gears. But I mean, even being competitive, I mean, how many series do you run? I know, like, if you're running like in the MX-5 or something like that, you'll row gears. But well, you couldn't row. Were you clutching with the Cadillac, upshifting and downshifting?
So with the Cadillac, it's an X-Track 6-speed sequential, but it's a manual sequential. So you're still using the clutch and heel towing on the downshift, but it's clutchless upshifting.
Okay.
So yes.
Okay. So
Same thing with the GT1 cars, like the Corvette and the Aston.
like I'm assuming you're prepping for the 24 Hours of Daytona this weekend. Are you running in it?
I have no idea yet.
Oh wow, you better get on it.
Yeah. I mean, it's Daytona, so.
Right, but let's use that as an
Speed.
example. None of those cars require a clutch, so
No,
you wouldn't need
absolutely not.
So you wouldn't need a clutch. But anyway, back to these pedals, 2-pedal set that it comes with, and just a little bit of adjustability as far as what you can do on the brake. There's a preload setting, which, by the way, did you mess with that at all?
No, I never ended up getting around to messing with it.
So I did it first when we first got these, so that isn't default, but there's a preload setting, and they give you a special tool to adjust that preload, and it basically just adjusts kind of the stiffness. And then there's also 3 settings as far as where the brake connects up to the what would you call the pedal base, I guess you could call it. So there's not a ton of adjustability. These are hydraulic pedals. And in the settings, you can see they're up to 100 bar. Oh, by the way, we turned these down a little bit.
Yeah, down to 70 bar.
Yeah, for dirt rally. But I think one of the only complaints, and it didn't bother me, and Jake, you tell me if it bothered you, was we had some customers come in here at SimMotion, and they said, "Oh, that," and they tried driving these. They didn't. I think Mike actually complained about it too, that the base plate, the footrest was a little short. Did it bother you at all?
It has not bothered me in the slightest, no.
It doesn't bother me either. But I had a customer specifically say, "Oh, that pedal plate, that base plate's too short for me." So I think that's really the only bad thing about these pedals. I mean, for the price, I think they're a great set of pedals, and they're hydraulic, and you can adjust the faces, but not much adjustability, but they do a great job. I think they're a solid set of pedals, especially with this bundle.
Yeah.
Anything else about the pedals?
No, I mean, they're nothing super crazy, but they work great, and the support with the haptics, like
That's what I was going to get to next.
being
But yeah, let's talk haptics.
Conspit pedals and using Conspit, haptic reactors, and having that compatibility within its own software, and just the SimHub compatibility again is awesome. The haptics are another thing that you could spend absolutely hours adjusting on these things to get to what you like.
Yeah, speaking of which, why don't you pull over here real quick again? And there's something else I wanted to talk about with these pedals, and we'll show you the haptic settings really quick, which Jake and I did just some filming and talking that we weren't really scripted. Not that this is scripted at all, but not that we didn't have anything set to do, but there's just tons of adjustability for the haptics. And this just continues to go down. So these are all the different effects that you can add to each pedal. And then you have effects profiles for each one of the effects. So you have ABS, and so you have to enable the effect. But then it's tunable per pedal. So like ABS would be great on the brake, obviously. You can have traction control, RPMs. There's just tons of different adjustability. And so what do you think about the haptics on these?
Haptics, I mean, haptics are haptics, but...
well, that's not true, though. I disagree. Because this is more of a vibration, like a rumble, versus like the Sim Magics have that linear, it's like a little piston. So these don't have the thump of like the haptics. But overall, what'd you think of them?
I think they're great. And I think not just the tunability of them really is part of what makes them so great too.
Yeah, for $89 you get the whole kit. You get all three, hardware to mount them, and the pedals are ready to have them mounted.
Oh yeah, and the install was like, I don't even think that took me 2 minutes.
Yep. And it comes with a power supply, so you'll need to have a power supply connected only if you're using the haptics. So one of the other things I wanted to touch on, and then we're going to start wrapping things up here. When Conspit came out, on the market, they didn't have bases. They started with pedals, and then they went to wheels. But one of the things that I kept hearing about their pedals, and I haven't tried this yet, is that there's a launch control.
Oh yeah, the cheatsy doodles.
Yeah, it's like a cheat where you basically click on a button. When the button is highlighted, click the preferred hotkey on your keyboard or steering wheel to complete the setting. So basically, you can set these pedals to basically help you with launch control.
Yeah.
So that's a cool feature, and I didn't mess with this at all. And I think
I haven't either.
I think I'd only use it if I was doing standing starts. A lot of the racing that I personally do doesn't require standing starts, but
Well, yeah, and how often do they do that? I think the only series I've ever ran on iRacing that I think has done a standing start is, I think Super Formula and Porsche Cup.
I was going to say some of the open wheel stuff is.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yep. I'm sure there's others too, but that's where it can really come in handy. But I thought that was a cool feature. And you can do some vibration adjustments here in the Conspit software. But SimHub's the way to go if you're going to get the haptics, because you can do tons of, you got all that different adjustability. You can set the strength in the software too. We had it running at 70 bar, which is basically 70% of the total pressure that you can use on the brake. But yeah, anything else about the pedals before we start to wrap things up?
I don't really think so. I would like to say that I do like the fact that they made all of the pedal faces equal in size and that they're kind of quite sizable. I know I know like the P1000s, for example, I feel like those pedals are like really tiny.
Well, and you can get upgradable pedal
True,
faces.
but the fact that these just come
yes.
like this, and they feel good, and they got good spacing and stuff like that.
I agree.
Out of all like the budget pedals, I actually think I'd prefer buying these over many of the other options that we have.
So I have one more thing to go over, and then we're going to wrap it up. I priced out some other similar bundles with Moza and SimMagic. So for Moza, an R9, the CS Pro, which is not out yet, but it's going to be out next month, and maybe by the time you watch it, it's already out. And CRP2 pedals, which I would say are comparable to these, because sure, we can go more of a budget and go SRP pedals, but I don't think SRPs even come close to competing with these. That bundle is $927. Use our ISR TV code and you'd get it for $880.65. And then the SimMagic Evo Sport, 9 Newton meters of torque, also with the 330R Neo X wheel, a P1000 two-pedal set. That retails for $1107 for that bundle, or $1051 with that 5% off code. And then this one falls like right in the middle. With 5% off, you get it for $949.05. So, Jake, of those three bundles, that's all you could afford. I mean, right now you have definitely a better setup. You have Husingveld Sprints, and you got the mini bass. But if you were starting with a bundle, which of those three bundles would you pick?
And this is all coming from like a personal bias of like everything that I've used and
yes, price.
Okay.
I mean, you've pretty much driven everything that I mentioned there, and are very familiar with the Neo X wheel and the Evo Sport. You did your iRacing thing on the D-Box with that. Your Mini is close to the Evo Sport as far as torque goes. You've driven the P1000 pedals. You've driven the CRP pedals. You've driven the R9. The CS Pro you just did a piece on. So you're locked into those bundles. One of those three bundles, which would you choose?
I would definitely, without a doubt, do Conspit. And that mainly boils down to, one, the SimHub compatibility, and the overall ecosystem, the harmony of the ecosystem in terms of just the performance and how they feel personally to me.
I echo Jake. If I could only choose one of those three bundles, it would be this one. Now, if I was mixing and matching, I'd definitely go with a different base, just for more torque. But I think as a package, I'm with Jake. I would go at that price point. I would go with this bundle as well. I've really started to fall in love with the Conspit stuff. I love SimMagic too. Moza makes great products too, but I just am not as big a fan of the Moza wheel lineup.
Yeah.
And I think it really comes down to nowadays, performance-wise in the same newton meters of torque range, they're all pretty much the same. I mean, it's not like, oh my God, I feel so much more with this base.
Yeah, there's definitely not like a glaring, you're never going to really find with all the modern equipment like any glaring differences usually between wheelbases other than like program, like how to tune them and stuff. So
on that note, check us out at simmotion.com. If you want to purchase this bundle, again, use the ISRTV promo code. You can get 5% off. We have them in stock right now, available to ship. And also check out our Inside Sim Racing new website at isrtv.com. Trinity is blogging just about every day there, and all of our videos are posted there. We'd love to hear your take on our website. But I think that's going to wrap it up. Anything else for you, Jake?
I think I'm good.
All right. For Jake Snedden, I'm Darren Ganji. Thank you for watching. We'll see you guys next time.